സാറേ ഓക്കെ ആണല്ലോ സാറേ? സാറേ ഓഡിബിൾ അല്ലേ സാറേ?
യെസ് യെസ്.
ഓക്കെ
ഓഡിബിൾ.
ഓക്കെ. ഇത് സാറേ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്ത് വീഡിയോ ഒന്ന് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തേക്കാം.
ഓക്കെ
ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ. സാറേ സാറേ മൈൻഡ് സാർ ഓഡിബിൾ ആണോ സാറേ? പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽ മൈൻഡ് സാർ ഓഡിബിൾ ആണോ? ഓക്കെ ആണല്ലോ. വീഡിയോ ഓഫ് ആണല്ലോ അല്ലേ സാറേ?
It's clear.
Okay, now video visible. Okay.
So then, sir, we start live telecast with YouTube.
Yeah, live already started.
Okay.
My miss Jessica.
Resource person, my miss.
Resource person is already joined.
Okay. So
let us start after a small advertisement.
Okay.
Panelists, please start your videos. All panelists, please start your videos.
ഞാൻ ആദ്യമായി കോളേജിൽ പോകുമ്പോൾ ഭാവിയെക്കുറിച്ചുള്ള ആശങ്ക പലതായിരുന്നു. എന്നാൽ സുന്ദരമായ ആ ക്യാമ്പസിലേക്ക് കയറി ചെല്ലുമ്പോൾ ഒരു ആത്മവിശ്വാസം എനിക്ക് ലഭിച്ചു. നല്ല സുഹൃത്തുക്കൾ, സംശയമകറ്റി വെളിച്ചം പകർന്നു തന്ന അധ്യാപകർ, പുതിയ ആശയങ്ങൾ നൽകിയ ലൈബ്രറി, ഏകാഗ്രതയും നല്ല ഓർമ്മകളും നൽകിയ ക്ലാസ് റൂമുകൾ, ഡിജിറ്റൽ ലോകത്തേക്ക് പറക്കാൻ പഠിപ്പിച്ച കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ ലാബ്. അങ്ങനെ MES കോളേജ് എന്നെ ഉയരങ്ങളിലേക്ക് സ്വപ്നം കാണുവാൻ പഠിപ്പിച്ചു. ഇന്ന് ഞാൻ വളരെ ഹാപ്പിയാണ്. സ്വപ്നങ്ങളെ പിന്നിലാക്കി ഉയരങ്ങളിലേക്ക് ഞാൻ പറന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നു. യു ഹാവ് ടു ഡ്രീം ബിഫോർ യുവർ ഡ്രീംസ് ക്യാൻ കം ട്രൂ.
MES College Erumely, proposed PO Erumely, Kottayam, unaided arts and science college under the Muslim Educational Society, approved by Government of Kerala and affiliated to the Mahatma Gandhi University.
Good evening to all. Today we are here for a national webinar on NAAC Accreditation, NAAC Criteria 6, Governance, Leadership and Management, conducted by the Department of Commerce, Finance and Taxation in association with IQAC of MES College Erumely. We are on the way for the accreditation process, and Criteria 6 is a very important one for this process. For this webinar, we have an apt resource person, Dr. Saji Joseph, IQAC Coordinator and Associate Professor in the Department of Physics, Pavanatma College, Murikasheri. Let's start the program by a prayer.
ആലം ദയാലുവായി ദാക്ഷിണ്യശാലിയായി വാഴുന്നോരീശ്വരൻ തിരുനാമത്തിൽ നിഖില ലോകങ്ങൾക്കുമേകരക്ഷകനാകും അഖിലേശ്വരനല്ലയോ സകല സ്തുതിയും. അഖിലേശ്വരനല്ലയോ സകല സ്തുതിയും. പരമകാരുണ്യവാൻ കരുണാനിധിയേ, വിധി പറയും ദിവസത്തിനേകാധിപനേ, നിയതമാരാധിപ്പൂ ഞങ്ങളങ്ങയെ മാത്രം സതതം സഹായമായി തീർപ്പതും തിരുമുമ്പിൽ നയിക്കേണം ഞങ്ങളെ നേരായ മാർഗത്തിൽ. നിന്നനുഗ്രഹപാത്രമായോർ തന്മാർഗത്തിൽ അങ്ങയാൽ കോപിക്കപ്പെട്ടോരുടെ വഴിയല്ല, സന്മാർഗഭ്രഷ്ടർത്തൻ വഴിയിലുമല്ല. ആലം ദയാലുവായി ദാക്ഷിണ്യശാലിയായി വാഴുന്നോരീശ്വരൻ തിരുനാമത്തിൽ നിഖില ലോകങ്ങൾക്കുമേകരക്ഷകനാകും അഖിലേശ്വരനല്ലയോ സകല സ്തുതിയും.
May I request Mrs. Maya Amol P, HOD, Commerce, Finance and Taxation Department for a formal welcome. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. A hearty welcome to the national webinar conducted by Department of Microfinance and Taxation and IQAC of MES College Erumely. I am Maya, working as an assistant professor and head of the Department of Microfinance and Taxation. You know, National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAAC, was established in 1994 as UGC autonomous body. NAAC accreditation determines the quality of education, infrastructure, research, and teaching and learning. It also helps the institution to know its strengths, opportunities, and weaknesses through an informed review process. This webinar is organized for the purpose of giving awareness about Criteria 6 of NAAC procedure. On behalf of MES College Erumely, I express my hearty welcome to the resource person, Dr. Saji Joseph sir, head of the Department of Physics and IQAC coordinator, Pavanatma College, Murikasheri. Then I welcome Mr. Mahin Ahmed sir, Principal, MES College Erumely, to this webinar. Next, I welcome Mr. Jitesh KS, Vice Principal and IQAC Coordinator, Sabjan Yusuf Sir, Director IT Cell, Mrs. Kavita Pedi, Director CDC, Mrs. Jasila Hanifa, Program Coordinator, Mrs. Anna Joseph, Criteria in charge, Mrs. Sheba Michael, Dean of Student Welfare, and all other staff members to this webinar. The participants are the key factor behind the success of every webinar. I heartily welcome all the faculties from other institutions, students from other institutions, our college students, and my dear colleagues to this webinar. Once again, I extend a hearty welcome to one and all to this session. Have a nice session. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Now I invite Mrs. Anna Joseph for an introductory speech, being the head of Criteria 6. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Welcome all to the national webinar, Governance, Leadership and Management, Criteria 6, conducted by MES College Erumely in association with IQAC. We are here with our chief guest, Dr. Saji Joseph, Associate Professor and IQAC Coordinator, Pavanatma College, Murikasheri, and our principal, Mr. Mahin Ahmed sir, and Mr. Jidesh KS, Vice Principal, Academics and Training and IQAC Coordinator, and Mrs. Mayamol P, HOD, Department of Commerce, Finance and Tax, and all other staff members. I heartily welcome all of you present here, and I wishing all the success for this webinar conducted by Commerce, Finance and Tax. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, madam. May I request our Vice Principal and of Academics and Training, Mr. Jidesh KS, he is also IQAC Coordinator, for the Presidential Address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sudhana. Good evening to all. It's a great pleasure to welcome all of you gathering here for this webinar. IQAC of MES College Erumely plan and implement various programs for the overall improvement of the college. We have organized more than 40 webinars in various phases during this academic year. The main purpose of IQAC is to adapt the college to the changes taking place in the field of higher education. The goal of the MES College Erumely is to bring better education to all levels of society. As a college located economically and socially backward area, we serve this purpose. Criteria 6 deals with the effective functioning of an institution. It focuses on matters like planning of human resources, recruitment, training, performance, advice, and financial management, and overall a role of leadership. We are here to acquire more knowledge about the key indicators and necessary documents to be prepared by the departments from the words of our keynote speaker, Dr. Saji. So we are eagerly waiting for your talk. And finally, I appreciate the efforts taken by the Department of Commerce, Finance and Taxation, especially the children of the department, Maya Murthy, Jasila Hanifa, and all other faculty members of Department of Commerce, Finance and Taxation. So once again, I welcome all of you gathering here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I request our beloved principal, Mahin Emmen, sir, for the formal inauguration of this webinar. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, all. I am happy to be present with you this evening in connection with the national webinar based on the topic Criteria 6 Governance, Leadership and Management, conducted by IQAC and Department of Commerce, Branch Finance and Taxation of our college. We have already conducted 3 international and around 35 national webinars on different topics during the period of COVID-19. I feel proud to say that our college is ready to cooperate with the UGC in its efforts to overcome the new challenges faced in the field of higher education. It has made a committee to access the standard of the instructions of higher education in India over a period of 3 to 5 years. And our state government, that means Kerala State Higher Education Council, is the institution established by the state government to access the standard of college and universities in the state. I wish all success for the webinar and congratulates the organizers, mainly Mr. Dinesh KS, Vice Principal and Coordinator, IQAC, and Shiva Mikhail Madam, Dean of Students Welfare, and Mr. Sajjan Yusuf, Director IT Cell, and the program mainly organized by the Department of Commerce, Branch Finance and Taxation, HOD Maya Mol, and all other faculty members of the Commerce Department, and Criteria 6 Head Anna Joseph, and Director CDC Kavita PD, and also express my deep gratitude to our speaker, Dr. Saji Joseph sir, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Physics, Bhavanatma College, Murikasheri, and also he is holding the post of IQAC Coordinator of Bhavanatma College for arranging the class for conducting the webinar. And I am happy to inaugurate the webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Mrs. Jasila Hanifa, Program Coordinator and Assistant Professor of Department of Commerce, Finance and Taxation, for introducing the chief guest to all of us present here. Over to you, Jasila.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon to all. I have an immense pleasure to introduce our chief guest and resource person, Dr. Saji Joseph, Head of the Physics Department, Bhavanatma College, Murikasheri. He took his PG from SB College, Jaganasheri, and his PhD on quantum mechanical treatment carrier scattering in nanoscale transistors from MG University in 2015. And he started his career as an assistant professor in the Department of Physics, Newman College, Todupuzha. He is also the IQAC coordinator of Bhavanatma College, Murikasheri. We are really blessed to get such a personality for the national webinar on Criteria 6, Governance, Leadership and Management. On behalf of Commerce, Branch Finance and Taxation Department and IQAC of MES College Erumely, I invite Dr. Saji Joseph sir for the presentation.
Good evening. I think I am audible to all of you.
That's all, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Respected Principal of MES College, Mahin Emmen sir, Vice Principal and IQAC Coordinator, Jitesh KS sir, Mrs. Maya Mol, HOD of Commerce, Mrs. Jasila Hanifa, Faculty of Commerce, Ms. Shiva Michael, Dean of Student Services, Ms. Kavita PD, Director CDC, respected faculty members and staff of MES College, most respected other participants of this webinar. I'm extremely happy to be part of this webinar conducted by the Department of Commerce of MES College Erumely. It is quite a commonplace thing nowadays for colleges to conduct training sessions and seminars on the NAAC accreditation process. But most often, these type of sessions are organized by the respective IQACs rather than the departments. Here, the Department of Commerce has taken the initiative to organize a webinar on the NAAC accreditation process. I understand that the IQAC of your college is also collaborating in organizing this webinar. I congratulate all the people behind this endeavor for the excellent organization of the event. I understand that your college is preparing for the NAAC accreditation for the first time. However, as I was going through your college website this morning, I got thoroughly impressed by the professional way in which your institution addresses the demands of the society in the area of higher education. I'm pretty sure that you will come out with a very high grade in the accreditation process.
Okay, thank you.
I take this opportunity to convey my best regards and best wishes to MES College in the coming days when it prepares for the NAAC process. I'm sure many webinars of this type has already been organized by you, and many more are to come. I express my gratitude to the organizers for providing me the opportunity to be a resource person for it. And I wish all the participants a fruitful session ahead. I think I should start the session right now. So with the consent of all participants, I am going to share my slides. If you are not able to see it, please let me know. So, sir, shall I share the slide?
Yes.
I think you can see my window now. Okay. Can you see the slide, please, sir? Sir?
Yes, right.
Okay. So I am acting as the resource person of this particular webinar in the capacity that I have been the IQAC coordinator of my college for the last 10 years. And I was instrumental in writing all the self-study report for the last accreditation process of my college. Even though our institution was only a medium type institution, we got the highest grade possible at that time. It was A grade. The highest grade possible at that time was A grade. Now it is, as you know, it is A++, A+, like that it goes down. But at that time, it was A grade and we got A grade. And I was the person who wrote the entire SSR. But unfortunately, things have changed now. The whole accreditation procedure has changed, and therefore, even though I am somewhat acquainted with these type of things, every day I have to be updated with this. And the same is the fate with you also. When you are involved in the accreditation process, you have to be informed about the latest modifications made by the NAAC when it comes to the accreditation procedure. So before going into the details of the sixth criterion is nothing but governance, leadership, and management, as the person who introduced me told you. I am going to give you an overview of the entire NAAC procedure, and I will take only a few minutes to do that. So the accreditation is done by NAAC, you know. The National Assessment and Accreditation Council is an autonomous body established by the UGC, and its headquarters is at Bangalore. In earlier days, it was not mandatory to have NAAC accreditation, but now things have changed, as you know. The RUSA has made it mandatory to get some accreditation if you want to have their funding. And by a law of the parliament, now it is mandatory for all educational institutions, higher education institutions, I mean, to have some sort of accreditation grade. So that is the relevance of accreditation. NAAC accreditation is based on these 7 criteria, you know. criteria for assessment are curricular aspects. The second is teaching, learning, and evaluation. The third one is research, innovation, and extension. Fourth one is infrastructure and learning resources. Student support and progression is the fifth one. Governance, leadership, and management is the sixth one, and institutional values and best practice is the last one. And the assessment is, or accreditation is based on the assessment of these criteria. And in this particular session, we are going to concentrate on the sixth criteria. But what is the outcome of NAAC grading system? Most of you must be familiar with the grades obtained after the accreditation process. But the highest accreditation grade is A++. And if you get a CGPA of between 3.51 and 4, you will be accredited with A++. 3.26 between 3.26 and 3.5 will give you an A+ grade. 3.01 and 3.25 must give you an A grade. If you get 2.76 to 3.00, you will end up with a B++ grade. 2.51 and 2.75 will give you B+ grade. 2.01 and 2.5. If you are unfortunate enough, you will get a B grade. And if it is 1.51 to 2.00, you will get a C grade. Still, you are accredited. If you are getting all these grades, no, don't worry, you will be accredited by NAAC. But if you are so unfortunate, if a college, not you, if a college is so unfortunate and if it gets less than 1.5, the grade will be D, and they will end up with a no accreditation status. That is the summary. That is a NAAC accreditation system in a nutshell. Now, let me tell you how it is done, how the whole process is done. The first step is to submit an IIQA, Institutional Information for Quality Assessment is the expansion for that particular term. I will use IIQA throughout our discussion. Similarly, I will use the term SSR for self-study report, which is the most important thing as far as we are concerned. And the most dreaded thing is the peer team visit that I will abbreviate as PT visit. Okay, the first thing, as I told you before, is to submit the IIQA. If you are serious enough to get some NAAC accreditation, the first thing you have to do is to submit the IIQA, Institutional Information for Quality Assessment, and that has to be done online, and it can be done at any time of the year. And duly filled IIQAs of eligible HEI is the higher education institution, will be accepted by the NAAC for further processing. And after processing, if it is accepted, you will have to submit the SSR within 45 days. That is the procedure. So you will have to submit the SSR within 45 days. If you fail to do so, you will have to submit the IIQA once again, and you will have to pay the fee once again. And after the SSR is submitted, some data validation and verification is there. And after that, the peer team will visit your institution. And after their visit, they will give you some grade. And apart from that, based on the SSR, based on the quantitative metrics, you will get some grade calculated by the system. And calculating both of these, taking into consideration both of these, you will get a final grade. This is the process done by NAAC. So this is the graphical representation of the entire process. I am not going to explain it once again. So this process, IIQA submission process, will go in a parallel way, and after that, student survey and data validation process will be undertaken, and after that, finally, the peer team visit and the final assessment will be done. So we are coming to the SSR submission section. As I told you before, you will have to submit the SSR within 45 days from the date of acceptance of the IIQA. I'm not going to tell you how IIQA is submitted, because the only thing you have to do is to log into the NAAC website. If you are doing it for the first time, you will have to register in the NAAC website. I think you have already done that because you have an operational IQAC. And if you have done that, and if you have submitted the IIQA, SSR also has to be filled and filed online. And for that, you just log into the NAAC website and you click the Manage SSR tab. And in the SSR, you will be having several sections. One section, the first thing you will have to submit is the profile of the institution. It is nothing but the basic data about the institution, how many teaching staff is there, how many non-teaching, how many students are there, how many courses are going on in your institution, etc. These things are basic statistical data. And another is QIF, Quantitative Indicator Framework, Quality Indicator Framework. This part is nothing but the SSR. This part is the thing that we will prepare in the SSR. So Quality Indicator Framework. And it contains data and documents required for each matrix. So SSR, when we are referring to SSR, we are referring to this QIF, Quality Indicator Framework. This is a measure of the quality of the institution, how things are going on, how efficiently things are managed here. So this is the SSR part. And in the SSR part, as I told you before, profile of the institution is the first thing in the SSR. Then the matrix part, this is essentially what we are worried about. And another one is the brief executive summary. And if you are uploading any document as an evidence for your claims in the SSR, it must be within a limit of 5 MB. Otherwise, NAAC cannot accept that. If your documents are exceeding that limit, you will keep it in your website. You keep it in your website and provide a link. That is the only thing required. So whenever you see provide web link, you remember my words. They are actually meaning that if your documents are exceeding this 5 MB limit, you put it in the website and you provide the link. That is nothing but paste link or upload link or provide link. Okay. Now, weights for the 7 criteria. This is I am going to give only an overview of other matrix and other criteria, but we will be concentrating on the 6th criteria. But for the sake of completeness, just to see, curricular aspects carries a weight of 100. It's not mark, remember, it's a weight. And teaching, learning, and evaluation carries 350. It is the most important thing as far as our colleges are concerned, because it carries out of 1,000, it carries 350. 35% of the weight comes to this teaching, learning, and evaluation. The third one, research, innovations, and extension carries 120 weights. Infrastructure and learning resources carries 100 weights. Student support and progression has 130 weights. Governance, leadership, and management, the thing that we are going to discuss today, carries weight of 100, and innovations and best practices carries 100. Altogether, 1,000. This is the weight of the 7 criteria. Remember, this is the weight, this is not the mark. We will come to that later. And as I told you before, we are going to concentrate on this governance, leadership, and management, which is the 6th criteria in the SSR. Now, I am going directly into the key indicators of Criterion 6, governance, leadership, and management. And when you are confused about different terms, SSR, criteria, key indicator, matrix, etc., just remember that if the SSR is a book, if it is a book, a key indicator or a criterion is a chapter of that book. So SSR is a book, criterion is a chapter, and a key indicator is a section of that chapter. So it's a portion of the criterion. So whenever you see this word key indicator, remember that it is the section in a chapter, it's a portion of a criterion. And these are the sections of that chapter, governance, leadership, and management. The first one is institutional vision and leadership, and it carries a weight of 10. Remember that in our criterion, governance, leadership, and management, the total weight must be 100, and that weight is split or compartmentalized into different key indicators. The first thing is institutional vision and leadership, and it carries a weight of 10. Similarly, strategy, development, and deployment is the next section in that chapter, and it carries a weight of 10. Faculty empowerment strategies of the college carries a weight of 30. Financial management and resource mobilization is another aspect, another key indicator, and it carries a weight of 20. Internal quality assurance system, IQAC efforts carry a weight of 30. And as I told you, the total weight of this particular criterion is 100. Now we are going into the matrix of different key indicators. As I told you before, there are many key indicators, and each key indicator has many metrics. And these metrics belong to different key indicators, and the weight of a particular key indicator is again split into the weights of different metrics. Metric is similar to a question or a paragraph in a section. So SSR is a book, a criterion is a chapter, a key indicator is a section, and a metric similar to a question is a paragraph. And we are going to the paragraph of the book of SSR. The first key indicator, institutional vision and leadership. It carries a weight of 10. And which are the metrics, which are the paragraphs in that section? The first section, 6.1.1. In that way, it is numbered because 6 is the criterion number, 1 is the key indicator number, and this represents, the last number represents the metric number. So there will not be any ambiguity from this point onwards, because 6.1.1 represents the sixth criterion, first key indicator, first metric. And this thing represents whether that matrix is a qualitative matrix or a quantitative matrix. I haven't gone into the details, but just remember that the SSR, the matrix are categorized into two: a qualitative matrix or a quantitative matrix. A quantitative matrix is one which requires numbers as its response. Numbers, data, statistics, etc. will be the answer to this quantitative matrix. Whereas a qualitative matrix requires your explanation to a situation. So a qualitative matrix will be assessed by the peer team, whereas a quantitative matrix will be assessed by the system, by the software, and both will be taken together. About 70% of our responses will be in the quantitative matrix section, and only about 30% will come to this qualitative matrix section. So the peer team will come and assess only this qualitative matrix. What you have written in the self-study report, is it correct or not? Is such a system is going on in your institution or not? This will be the assessment. The other part, the data part, will be assessed during the data validation process, and the software will calculate that. So the first metric of the first key indicator of the criterion 6 will be a qualitative matrix, and this is governance of the institution is reflective of and in tune with the vision and mission of the institution. You have to demonstrate that the governance, how things are managed in your institution, is reflective and in tune with the vision and mission of the institution. For that, you must have a vision. I am sure your institution has already created a vision statement and a mission statement for the institution, because IQAC is operational there for quite a long time. And if it is not done yet, you do it immediately, because vision and mission must be there in the institution. For any institution, any corporate institution or any educational institution, you know that. But you cannot write anything as vision and mission, because in the whole SSR, you are demonstrating that the institution is run in accordance with the vision and mission of the institution. So the track record of the institution that you portray in the SSR must be in tune with the vision and mission of the institution. And the description given in the NAAC website is like this: describe the vision and mission of mission statement of the institution on the nature of governance, perspective, plans, and participation of teachers in the decision-making bodies of the institution within a maximum of 500 words. Even though you can write anything below 500 words, you go for the maximum, because you are actually trying to impress other people, and words cannot be a less when you are doing that. But when you are reading the whole sentence, it doesn't make any sense. That's why I have included that the thing within the red letters, this thing. Then now if you read it, it will be like this. Describe the influence of the vision and mission statement of the institution on the nature of governance, perspective plans, and participation of the teachers in the decision-making bodies of the institution within a maximum of 500 words. So you tell the self-study report, or you tell the peer team how the vision and mission statement influence the governance of the institution, the perspective plans, and participation of teachers in the participatory management system of the institution within a maximum of 500 words. And as I told you before, you can give paste link if your documents are exceeding 5 MB data limit. So you will have to devise the vision and mission statements. Then you create the objectives of the institution, because the objectives are necessary if you are creating a perspective plan of the institution. That will be required in the subsequent matrix. Perspective plan must be there. And for preparing the perspective plan, you must have the objectives and long-term goals of the institution. I must not tell the business management people how important is the vision and mission and objectives of any institution. You know already that. As far as I am concerned, I am a physics teacher. I don't know the intricacies of the vision and mission statement. The only thing I know is this: vision is a long-term objective, long-term thing. How our institution must be, or what is the aim of our institution for the next 20 years. Whereas the mission is the steps that you adopt to achieve that vision. I'm not going into those details, but the first qualitative matrix is this. So rest assured that IQAC is really having a lot of work creating this thing. And I have inserted here the mission and vision statements of Toyota, just to give you some idea about how vision statements are created and mission statements are created. I think it is actually not necessary to explain this thing here, because most of the departments in your college is concerned with business and commerce. They know it already. The next metric, next question in the section, first section 6.1.2 is also a qualitative matrix. The effective leadership is visible in various institutional practices such as decentralization and participative management. And here the weight is 5. Remember that the total weight of that key indicator was 10. So two qualitative metrics, 1.1 and 1.2, they share weightage of 5 each. In this particular case, describe a case study showing decentralization and participative management in the institution in practice within a maximum of 500 words. IQAC itself is a typical example of a participative management system. So because the responsibilities are shared among different teachers, in your college many cells will be there. Each cell has a coordinator. That coordinator is looking after all the activities of the cell. So altogether, all these cells will create the effort of the college in the direction of progress. So you devise or you discover something like that. You describe a case study, and it must be also within 500 words. Here also, remember that if you are giving a case study like this, it must, if you have some evidence for that, whether it is in your website or somewhere else, give paste link. You give the link for that information also. So that is the way the second qualitative matrix is addressed. So that was the first key indicator. The second key indicator is strategy development and deployment. How strategic plan is devised, how it is deployed, etc. Here also, I don't have to explain much because commerce people in your college must be knowing these things: strategy development and deployment, those aspects. But as far as the college, as far as the SSR is concerned, this is the thing that you have to address. The institutional strategic or perspective plan is effectively deployed. It is having only a weightage of 2, but never underestimate it, because when the peer team comes, they will be concentrating on this thing, how the management is working, how the perspective plan is executed. And here you will have to give within 500 words, describe one activity successfully implemented based on the strategic plan within a maximum of 500 words. So you must have a strategic plan. If you don't have it, you create one, and it must be for a long period, say for 20 years. And then step by step, how each year you are deploying that, how you are executing that. So a strategic plan, then deployment documents. Deployment documents are nothing but the annual plan of different cells and departments, because each cell, each department is doing what the strategic plan tells, and therefore those documents should be in the website. And therefore you put the annual report of your college in the website, and you give a link to that document. So that's all about a perspective plan. You create one, then you create an annual report, and care must be taken that every year some progress is made in the direction of this perspective plan. The second metric in the second key indicator, that is 6.2.2, is a qualitative metric, second qualitative metrics. The functioning of the institutional bodies is effective and efficient as visible from policies, administrative setup, appointment and service rules, procedures, etc. So in your administrative office, you keep copies of this service rules, procedures, university statute, etc. And apart from that, you create a quality manual which describes the policy of the college in different aspects. For example, what is your safety policy? For example, what is your gender sensitization policy? What is your equality policy? What is your policy regarding evaluation of students? What is your policy regarding the effective teaching of students? What is your policy regarding grievance redressal? So you create a book. You create a book and put it in the website, telling what are the different policies of the institution. In our college, I have created a manual. It's called Pavanatma Quality Manual. It's available in our website. It tells everything about the college, not about the other aspects of the college, not about the departments of the college, but what will the college do in a particular situation? What is the policy of the college in this particular situation? And it's called Pavanatma Quality Manual. For example, it tells how internal examinations are conducted. If a student breaches the laws or the rules of the examination, what must be done? So everything is there. It's like the constitution of a college. Okay. Having said that, enough of it have been said about that. The functioning of the institutional bodies is effective and efficient as visible from policies, administrative setup, appointment and service rules, procedures, etc. Describe the organogram of the institution within a maximum 500 words. What is the top layer of management? Is it the administrative? Okay, I know that you have a well-defined administrative hierarchy, so you don't have to worry about that. You just describe that. Apart from that, you give the policies of the institution also. The third matrix of the second key indicator, for the first time, it is a quantitative matrix. It requires data. You don't have to explain many things. This is the data. Implementation of e-governance in the areas of operation: administration, finance and accounts, student administration and support, examination. You will have to give a number. If all these areas are automated, you will give the value for all of them. Then administration is automated, finance and accounts are automated. Then examination is automated, but student admission and support is not automated by in your institution. Then you give the number 3. So based on that, you will get a weight. If all of them are well automated, you will get the maximum value. By the way, when you are doing exceedingly well in a particular metric, what you are going to get is a number. It's a number 4. And if you are doing good enough, you will get a 3. If you are doing only average, you will get 2 like that. So it's something like a grade system, and that grade will be multiplied by this weight or this weightage to get the total marks of that particular metric. For example, if you get a 3 here, if you are doing fairly well but not exceedingly well, and if the peer team gives you or the system gives you a mark 3 here, that will be multiplied by this weightage to get the mark of that particular metric. So if it is a 3, it is 4 into 3, 12. That's why I told you before that this weightage is not the actual mark, but it gives only the weight. And the data requirement must be given as per data template. That you have to keep in mind. IQAC should take a note of this. If something is required by means of a data template, you go to the SSR and you see that there is a particular format for the data to be given. It is in Excel format, but all the columns of that worksheet must be as per this data template. And as per data template, you will have to give some data requirements. Apart from that, you will have to give the software details, ERP details, ERP document, and then screenshots of the user interface of the automating software, any other additional information that you wish to provide. And I shall show you the data template. This is the data template. In which areas you are automated. You have already been using a software, name of the vendor from whom you have purchased it, and the year of implementation. So this is the data template. Let us go to the next metric. But now it is in the third key indicator, faculty empowerment strategies. This is the third key indicator. So this one, and it carries a weight of 30, and its first question is a qualitative metric again. The institution has effective welfare measures for teaching and non-teaching staff. We are all interested in this particular thing, and it carries a weight of 5. And here you provide the list of existing welfare measures for teaching and non-teaching staff within a maximum 500 words. PF is there. Some fund has been allocated so that any contingencies are to be addressed. So provide the welfare measures. List out the welfare measures that you have. You can see at least. You can find at least 20 such welfare measures in all institutions of Kerala if you are shrewd enough. So that's all about, I don't have to explain those things. 6.3.1. So the next matrix is 6.3.2, the second metric of the third key indicator of the 6th criterion. Again, a quantitative matrix. Average percentage of teachers provided with financial support to attend conference, workshops, and towards membership fee of professional bodies during the last 5 years. If you are going for some seminar, if you are going for some workshop, and if you are taking the membership of, for example, Association of Physics Teachers, how the college is supporting you, and you will have to give it in terms of as a quantitative matrix. Remember, this is a quantitative matrix, and therefore there is a data template for that. And the data template is you will have to specify the name of the teacher, and therefore it is going to be a huge data for the last 5 years, because all the teachers have to be identified here. So for example, if Saji Joseph is given 1,000 rupees in the year 2015, my name has to be written here, then which seminar, conference or workshop, so all the details has to be have to be given. Then if again I am given some other assistance in the next year, again my name has to come here. So it is going to be a huge list. So that's about the 6.3.2 matrix. Next is 6.3.3, again a quantitative matrix. Average number of professional development and administrative training programs organized by the institution for teaching and non-teaching staff during the last 5 years. I'm quite sure that you will be having a large list, because this particular webinar is one of them. So list out all such events. It must be given as a data template. date from to, title of the professional development program, title of the administrative training program, etc. And you will have to specify the number of participants. You will have to specify the number of participants. And therefore, you will have to keep an activity register. In these days of webinars, it is not necessary to keep a register, but in earlier times, when webinars were not a commonplace thing, you will have to keep a register of register of participation. You write down the name of the activity, and below that you take the signatures of all participants. Somebody wanted me to annotate something, but I accepted that. And from that point onwards, I am not able to use my mouse. What happened? Somebody from the IT cell, please help me. I don't want to annotate. Then what I should do?
Yes, sir.
Somebody asked me to annotate something, and I accepted that.
No,
And,
not allowed, sir.
I allowed.
You already allowed?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I will check, sir. I will check.
From that time onwards, my mouse is not working. My keyboard is also not working.
Okay, I will check, sir. Saji sir, can know his name or her name?
But I have disallowed that. Anita was the name. I disallowed that, but even afterwards, I am not able to use my mouse.
Anida. Okay, I will check. I will check.
I have unchecked that particular name, but even afterwards, I am not able to use my mouse.
Okay, I will check, sir.
Otherwise, I shall stop sharing and come back once again. That may be.
Okay,
Is it necessary?
Okay, that is better. You please stop your sharing and start with this slide. That is better.
Now it's okay. Now it's okay.
Okay, sir.
I shall share it once again. Now I think the screen is visible to you once again.
Yes, sir. Okay, visible.
6.3.3 is the next matrix. Average, that we have already discussed. Average number of professional development and administrative training programs organized by the institution. So the next metric is again a quantitative matrix. 6.3.4. Average percentage of teachers undergoing online face-to-face faculty development FDP during the last 5 years. So you maximize it. You ask every teacher to undergo as many FDP programs, as many orientation programs, induction programs as possible. Because nowadays, in former days, it was not very easy to get an admission into a refresher course. But nowadays, in the era of webinars and online courses, it's not so difficult. You know all these things. And therefore, I am going to the next metric. The institution's performance appraisal system. It is faculty empowerment strategies. Fifth metric, institution's performance appraisal system for teaching and non-teaching staff. It's a qualitative matrix. Describe the functioning status of the performance appraisal system for teaching and non-teaching staff within a maximum 500 words. So you must have a policy for the performance appraisal system of the teaching. How they must be accountable. The teachers must be accountable of what they are doing. And therefore, in our institution, we have many such systems. One is a software. We have a software for the management of the entire academic and administrative process. In that particular system, every teacher has to log in daily, and they will have to record what they have done. That's a good practice of performance appraisal, and afterwards it's possible to take a summary reports from the system so that the principal or the authority can understand what each teacher was doing. And apart from that, it's possible to give some marks based on just like the promotion type categorization. It's possible to give marks based on the performance. That is one particular thing. So it's a very good performance appraisal system that can be incorporated in your software also. And apart from that, other things can be done. For example, you can take feedback from students. That will give you an appraisal. Apart from that, you can collect, for example, report from the HOD. For example, semester end report from the HOD regarding the performance of the teachers. These things can be developed. You describe how your institution is doing these things. And if your documents are exceeding the 5 MB limit, you provide the link. So it's a qualitative matrix. Remember, the peer team will come and assess this particular thing, how things are going on, how the appraisal system is going on in your institution. The final, not the final one, the fourth key indicator is financial management and resource mobilization. How financial management is carried, how resources are created in your institution. The first one, the first metric is a qualitative matrix. Institution conducts internal and external financial audits regularly. It carries a weight of 6. You don't have to invent many things because I'm pretty sure that your institution is doing it excellently well because MES, in all MES institutions, these types of things are going on, I'm sure. IQAC has to enumerate the various internal and external financial audits carried out during the last 5 years. So you will have to list them year-wise, and the mechanism for settling audit objections within a maximum of 500 words. Now, the next one is funds and grants received from NGOs, non-government bodies, individuals, philanthropists during the last 5 years, not covered in Criterion 3. In Criterion 3, it was, remember, research, innovation, and extension. For research, for innovations, for extensions, if you have received something, it cannot be included here. Apart from that, any other extra contributions towards the institution from individuals and philanthropists. Then also you will have to provide the accounts, annual statements of account of the institution. There is a data template for that. For example, you will have to provide the name of the agency or the individual, for what purpose the grant was given to you, how much was the fund, then audited statement of accounts reflecting the receipts. So that is the financial management and resource mobilization of the institution. And the third qualitative matrix of that key indicator is institutional strategies for mobilization of funds and the optimal utilization of resources. For that, as I told you before, you create a policy. In your policy statement for the optimal utilization of resources, what are the policies of the institution? You state it there, and you then you stick on with that particular policy. Describe the resource mobilization policy and procedures of the institution within a maximum of 500 words. My advice to you is this. Instead of inventing many things at the time of preparation of the SSR, you create these types of policies beforehand. You start creating it tomorrow itself. Then make it as a book, make it as a quality manual. Then keep it there. Then when you prepare the SSR, your life will be a lot more easy. Then the final key indicator is the internal quality assurance system of the institution, how effectively quality management is done in your institution. The first thing is a qualitative matrix. Internal quality assurance cell has contributed significantly for institutionalizing the quality assurance strategies and processes. Describe 2 practices institutionalized as a result of IQAC initiatives within a maximum of 500 words. For example, in your institution, suppose IQAC has recommended the creation of a mentoring cell that look into all the mentoring aspects of the institution. And that has become a best practice of your institution because it is immensely successful. Suppose IQAC has recommended the creation of a herbal garden in your institution. Nowadays, all the local people are coming to that herbal garden to collect or to know about the medicinal plants of the Western Ghats. Devise something like that, discover something like that. And it must be there when the peer team comes. That is the next thing. So 2 practices institutionalized as a result of IQAC initiatives. And my advice is this: every step forward of the institution, every movement of the institution, every effort of the institution must be in collaboration with the IQAC. Then IQAC can include everything in their report, because then the annual report will have many references to the IQAC, and IQAC can use all of them as their best practice, as their recommendation. So this is 6.5.1. 6.5.2 is again a qualitative matrix. The institution reviews its teaching learning process, structures and methodologies of operations and learning outcomes at periodic intervals through IQAC setup as per norms and recorded the incremental improvement in various activities. That means you must have a review system for the teaching learning process. Teaching learning, as I told you before, you can have a performance appraisal system. You can have an academic audit at the end of the academic year done by the IQAC coordinator and the principal and an external expert, for example. And this is a method for reviewing the teaching learning process. You can have feedback from the students. So collect all these things and you provide it here. It carries a weightage of 10. So the review of the teaching learning process and its methodologies through the IQAC setup. And then you must assess, the IQAC must assess the summary report, and action taken report must be provided. So this is the thing that you have to do as far as this particular metric is concerned. Now the next is 6.5.3, a quantitative matrix. Quality assurance initiatives of the institution include regular meeting of the internal quality assurance cell, in which feedback collected, analyzed and used for improvements, collaborative quality initiatives with other institutions, participation in NIRF, any other quality audit. So it's remember, it's a quantitative matrix. So you will have to give a number. For example, regular meeting of the internal quality assurance cell. Okay, it's done. Therefore, 1. Collaborative quality initiatives with other institutions. You have MES set up, so you have collaboration with all those institutions. So you can provide, that comes as 2. Then you have already participated in NIRF. So it means 3. Then if you have gone for any other quality audit, you will end up with a 4. But if it is 3, you will get a 3 mark here. So 10 into 3 will give you 30 marks for this particular thing. But remember one thing, when you put a regular meeting of the internal quality assurance cell, you must have all the supporting documents, because the minutes must be there and it must be uploaded in the website beforehand, and action taken report must be there. So all these things must be kept by the IQAC if you are having a regular meeting of internal quality assurance cell. Oh, okay, that is it. That is all the details about the 6th criterion. It's already 6:10 now, and I am going to give you happy news. There are some matrix which can be opted out from the SSR from attempting. They are called non-applicable matrix. And this is the policy of NAAC for the non-applicable matrix. Maximum weightage of matrix that can be opted out shouldn't exceed 30 weightage. Not for this particular criterion, for the entire SSR. For all 7 criteria, the maximum weightage that can be opted out is only 30. Matrix with maximum of total 10 weightage per criteria can be opted out. From each criteria, maximum 10. Criteria 1 to 7 are essential. That means you are left with the criterion 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you are fortunate. You people who are looking after this criterion 6 are fortunate in the sense that you can opt out something with a weightage of 10. But remember that matrix identified as optional can only be opted out. I shall show you which are the optional matrix in criterion 6. And remember that qualitative matrix cannot be opted out. And that means you will not be having much to opt out because most of the matrix are qualitative matrix in our criterion 6. So non-applicable matrix. These are the non-applicable matrix in criterion 6. 6.2.3 is a quantitative matrix. 6.3.3 is a quantitative matrix, and 6.4.2 was a quantitative matrix. It doesn't mean that all the quantitative matrix can be opted out. What is given in the NAAC website, NAAC guideline can only be opted out. These are the things. These 3 things can be opted out, but the total weight should not exceed 10. So implementation of e-governance, you are free not to attempt that. Average number of professional development training programs, free to opt out that. That means you are already attempted or not attempted 9. So you cannot, in this particular thing, 8 plus 5 will give you 13. So you cannot opt out these 2 things together. What you are left with is only this thing. You can opt out these 2, or you can opt out this one only, like that. Funds grant received from non-government bodies, that can be opted out. Okay, that's it. Not important because we are going to attempt all these things. So this is an example of a college in which, as far as you people, criterion 6 people are concerned, how mark is going to be allotted to you. For example, 6.1.1 was a qualitative matrix. Its weight was 5, and suppose the peer team gives you a mark of 3. Remember that peer team can give you either a 4 or a 3 or a 2 or a 1 in integer only, with a maximum of 4. So they cannot give you 3.5, and therefore you are going to get either a 3 or a 4 here in the grade point. Suppose you get 3. That means for that matrix you will get 15 marks. Similarly for the next metric, suppose you get maximum, so that you get 20 marks for that. So total you get 35 marks for the entire key indicator, and its weight was 10, so that the total marks obtained will be divided by the weight. That will give you a 3.5. A 3.5 means you have A plus grade. 3.51, if it was 3.1, you will get A plus plus, but for this you will get A plus. But A plus for this key indicator is not important. The grade for a criterion is important. The overall grade for the entire SSR is important. But for the sake of understanding, I have given it as A plus. A plus. Similarly, for the next key indicator, you can find out the total marks obtained for all the criteria, or I mean all the matrix, and its total weight was 10. So 32 divided by 10, because 32 was the total marks obtained. This is only an example, remember that. So that gives you a 3.2 for that key indicator. Similarly, for the next key indicator, faculty empowerment strategies, suppose these are the different grades that you obtained. When multiplied by the weightage, you will get the grade points like this. And suppose the total grade points that you obtain is 110 for that particular indicator. When divided by 30 will give you a 3.67. The corresponding grade will be obtained for that. Similarly, for the last one, suppose these are the different marks that you obtain. and you finally end up with this particular key indicator grade point, and that will give you V++. So overall, there is one more thing, key indicator 6.5. That will also give you one particular grade. And when you take all of them together, overall, here I have given key indicator 6.1, its grade was 3.5. Then you multiply it by the corresponding weight, will give you 35. Actually, this was the mark that you obtained. Similarly, this was the mark that you obtained for 6.2. This was the mark that you obtained for 6.3. So you add them all together, you will get a 337 here. This is the mark that you have, and when it is divided by the total grade, you will get a 3.37. So people looking into this criterion 6 must be aware of this thing. In the accreditation certificate, they will provide what is the grade that you obtain for this particular criterion. So separately for each criterion, for criterion 1, 2, 3, etc., what is the grade that you obtain? And then, of course, they will provide the overall grade also, but this will be there. So you will be answerable for this. Everyone will ask you why you got this thing, how efficiently you have done this thing, because you have obtained A++ in your particular criterion, etc. So that must happen. Everybody must appreciate you because your incremental effort is what actually counts. So the most important thing is the IQAC. Of course, the IQAC, as far as this particular criterion is concerned, any criterion is concerned for that matter, IQAC is the most important thing. Here also the same thing. But other things are there. Vision, mission, and organizational structure, they are important. Then a budget, a strategic planning, a deployment policy, etc. are very important. So even though the weightage is not so high for this particular criterion, I think, personally, I feel that this is the most difficult thing. Even though the second criterion, teaching, learning, and evaluation, carries 350 weightage, a lot of questions are there, a lot of metrics are there, but the difficulty comes when you are planning these type of things, because you are actually planning the management of the institution, and therefore, even though it carries only a weight of 100, it's the most difficult and most important thing as far as the self-study report is concerned. So with that, I am stopping my presentation. I think this is it is the time for interaction. If you have anything to share with me, please feel free to do that. Once again, I express my gratitude for inviting me to participate in this particular webinar. Okay.
Thank you, sir. It's very effective and pressing, sir, and very informative, sir. It's very useful to us. And there are some queries. And first one is, you have said that it is very important to set up the vision and mission, organization structure, etc. Is it necessary to set up a vision and mission in the department level, sir?
NAAC doesn't ask for that. In some institutions, I have visited some institutions in which where I have seen that each department is displaying their vision and mission, but NAAC doesn't ask for that. But when you are going for NIR, I'm not sure, because we haven't done that yet. Apart from that, NAAC has not made it mandatory to have vision at the department level. And personally, I feel that sometimes there will be contradictions with the vision and mission of individual department. It's not going to be a good thing, because the entire institution must go as a single unit. And therefore, personally, I feel that a vision and mission of the institution is enough.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. And sir, how can we do the audit for the last 4 years? What are the documents needed for the external audit, academic audit?
In our college, external audit is done by the AG's office. It's a government level audit. In your case, I am not sure. In the case of this type of colleges, I'm not sure what type of audit is going on there. But I'm sure there will be some sort of internal audits. A chartered accountant deputed by your institution will be doing that every year. I'm sure that. Then in that case, you
definitely we have two types of audits. One of from head of the MES institution, and another one is external auditor, external auditing. That is a chartered accountant comes to accounts.
A chartered accountant enforced by or deputed by the institution, it's not an external audit. I think it's an internal audit, because you are actually deputing him. But in our case, no ambiguity there. I'm not sure about that.
Good evening, sir. I'm from BCM College, and we are getting ready for our 4th cycle. And I was just listening in on your very informative points that we need to follow. So if I'm correct, I think during this last period, we have been asked to upgrade in terms of auditing. The department audit should also include all the bills and vouchers also. Is that mandatory for every department to keep an account of all the bills, everything of the past 5 years?
Exactly, because that must be done, because every unit of the institution, whether it is a department or a cell or a club, they must keep their own bills and vouchers, and there must be an when auditing is done, it can be done at the college level, no problem about that. For example, at the end of the academic year, a team of auditors deputed by the principal can do that audit. It's not mandatory for going for an external audit, or a chartered accountant is not necessary, I think, but it must be done at least at the college level. Then only we can say that financial transparency is there. It's not mandatory. It may be the a recommendation of the peer team for a college. In our college, we are doing exactly that, because we are not going for the external audit. We are not going for the audit of a chartered accountant at the department level, but it is done by the internal audit team of the college. But at least that must be done. This particular thing that you are referring to may be a recommendation of the peer team. It's not mandatory as far as NAAC is concerned. But if you are not doing that, you are going to end up with a less grade than that you deserve.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Sir, it's about 6.3.3 faculty development programs. If it is a webinar, how can we give the number of participants if we have not taken the screenshot or photos?
Nowadays, it's possible to have summary report of that. For example, I'm not sure about WebEx, but in Google Meet, you can have all the Meet attendance. If you have used the Meet attendance Google extension. Otherwise, you can use a Google form for the registration purpose. In this particular seminar, they have done that. They have used. I'm not sure whether the question, the person who is asking the question is from MES College or not. In this particular webinar, they have used a Google form for the registration, I think. So use some sort of thing. If it is not available, keep a register, an old type register, and you keep the signature of all the participants. That will be an evidence. But it must be there. It must be there. Maybe they may not ask that, but if they ask, you will have to submit that. And it is better to keep such a register.
Okay, sir. Sir, could you please cite an example of strategies and perspective plan 6.2?
Actually, strategic plan, when you are creating the vision and mission of the institution, you state some objectives of the institution also. What are the objectives of the institution? And then you create a plan for attaining those objectives. For example, what must be the pass percentage after 5 years? What must be the number of computers available to students, or the ratio of the computers available to students after 2 years? What must be the enrichment? How many enrichment programs must be offered by the institution to supplement the curriculum? So you create an objective like that. And in the annual report of all the cells and bodies, for example, the academic support cell of the college must create a plan to supplement the enrichment program, to increase the enrichment program, say by 10% every year. So in that fashion, a perspective plan must be created. And an annual report is a short-term perspective plan, but you will have to create a perspective plan for the next 20 years, how the infrastructure has to be augmented, how the bandwidth of the internet, how the ICT facility should be augmented, etc. But keep in mind that it must be in tune with the vision and mission of the institution. That's why I told you that you have to start from the vision and mission. And all these things, the strategic plan must be in tune with the vision and mission of the institution. We will have to make sure that it happens. Otherwise, the peer team will ask us, there is a disparity between the strategic plan that you have created and the mission that you have stated. It must not happen. So start from the vision, mission, objectives, then you create some key performance indicators for measuring the metrics that you are planning to achieve. And there must be a coordinator, a person who is responsible for each department that is carrying out each incremental activities of the institution. So in that way, a strategic plan and a deployment document has to be created.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I think there are no more questions. And also we are taking too much time, sir. Shall we wind up, sir? Okay. Okay. May I request Mrs. Kavita PD, the CDC Director, for a formal vote of thanks. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello. Yeah.
Good evening, all the dignitaries present online. I'm Kavita, Assistant Professor at MES College Erumely. We had been going through an informative webinar on NAAC Criteria 6, Governance, Leadership and Management, conducted by the IQAC and Department of Commerce, Finance and Taxation of MES College Erumely. Now, I am out to convey my sincere gratitude to all the respected personnel who worked for the success of this webinar. First of all, let me share my heartfelt gratitude to the chief guest and the resource person, Dr. Saji Joseph, Associate Professor, Department of Physics and IQAC Coordinator of Pavanatma College, Murikaseri. It is a great skill for a person to convey his knowledge to other people completely. Our resource person is truly such a gifted personality. Thank you, sir, for your valuable time. Our principal, Mr. Mahinaman, sir, he is the backbone of the series of webinars conducted in our college. On this occasion, I extended my sincere thanks to our honorable principal. Thank you, sir. Now, let me thank everyone who had used their maximum effort and time for the well-functioning of the webinar. Mrs. Maya Molpi, HOD, Department of Finance and Taxation. Thank you, ma'am, for delivering a welcome address and all your support for this webinar. Mr. Jidesh KS, Vice Principal, Academic 2 and Training, and also IQAC Coordinator, deserves my sincere gratitude for the presidential address. The introductory speech delivered by Mrs. Anna Joseph, Head of NAAC Criteria 6. Thank you, ma'am, for valuable words. Mrs. Jasila Hanifa, so coordinator of this webinar. Thank you, ma'am, for your deep contribution. And I express my sincere gratitude to Mrs. Shriba Michael, Student Dean, for her inevitable presence and cooperation. Thank you, ma'am. I also extend my sincere thanks to Mr. Sabjan Yusuf, Director IT Cell, for technical support. And
Okay, Kavita, I think some technical problem arises to her. Sir, anyway, thanks a lot from the family of MES. So really, it's very informative and effective, and I think we are on the way for the NAAC accreditation process. It's very informative to us, and it's very useful to us. And once again, thanks from whole college, sir. And okay, we shall wind up, and let's stand for the national anthem. Leave chair.
ഞാൻ ആദ്യമായി കോളേജിൽ പോകുമ്പോൾ ഭാവിയെക്കുറിച്ചുള്ള ആശങ്ക പലതായിരുന്നു. എന്നാൽ സുന്ദരമായ ആ ക്യാമ്പസിലേക്ക് കയറി ചെല്ലുമ്പോൾ ഒരു ആത്മവിശ്വാസം എനിക്ക് ലഭിച്ചു. നല്ല സുഹൃത്തുക്കൾ, സംശയമകറ്റി വെളിച്ചം പകർന്നു തന്ന അധ്യാപകർ, പുതിയ ആശയങ്ങൾ നൽകിയ ലൈബ്രറി, ഏകാഗ്രതയും നല്ല ഓർമ്മകളും നൽകിയ ക്ലാസ് റൂമുകൾ, ഡിജിറ്റൽ ലോകത്തേക്ക് പറക്കാൻ പഠിപ്പിച്ച കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ ലാബ്. അങ്ങനെ MES കോളേജ് എന്നെ ഉയരങ്ങളിലേക്ക് സ്വപ്നം കാണുവാൻ പഠിപ്പിച്ചു. ഇന്ന് ഞാൻ വളരെ ഹാപ്പിയാണ്. സ്വപ്നങ്ങളെ പിന്നിലാക്കി ഉയരങ്ങളിലേക്ക് ഞാൻ പറന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നു. യു ഹാവ് ടു ഡ്രീം ബിഫോർ യുവർ ഡ്രീംസ് ക്യാൻ കം ട്രൂ.
MES College Erumely, proposed PO Erumely, Kottayam, unaided arts and science college under the Muslim Educational Society, approved by Government of Kerala and affiliated to the Mahatma Gandhi University.